A lot of work, folks. How you doing? It's the Morning Gardener, and it's been good. It's been good. I've been resting, and haven't been in the garden for a while. I have definitely taken some time out. It is a lot of work, folks. It's a lot of work, and plus I step back because I like to make some changes this year to the garden. One, I got to bring all the trees back down to normal height. These are dwarf trees, and the dwarf trees are now about 15, 20 feet tall. And I want to keep them within, range where I can care for them without them getting too big and too unmanageable. The trunks on the trees are huge. Um, I do have some fruit I'm getting off of the trees, very slow production. Got to be honest about it. A lot of people will not get online and tell you that. They will not. They show you that everything's going great, and they always show you the yards when it's well cut. And I like to show you both sides of it, so to speak. Um, I like what my trees are doing. The pear trees, I got one that's coming on as far as coming into production. I have another one that's about 4 or 5 years old. It's been producing well for a couple of years, but very slow production. It needs a pollinator. I'm running into that issue basically with a lot of my trees. I need pollinators. When you purchase these trees, one thing I'm learning is that you have very few stores that have the information up front. Let's see. Good morning. Hello. How you doing? All right. Good to see you. Good to see you. The first one that tuned in, and I was just telling everyone actually about the fact that when you purchase fruit trees, there's very little information out there. In most of the stores, but in the one store that I did find, which was Start Bros, the information was there. Oh, you're a new subscriber. Well, congratulations. Thank you. Uh, okay. Um, when I see the trees that are producing well, I have trees that are like 4 and 5 years old. I have cherry trees. I have apple trees. I have plum trees, peach trees, you name it. I have them. And the thing about them is you're not going to get all that production on these trees unless you know what you're doing in caring for the trees, thinning the trees, the soil quality, soil pH, all of that absolutely matters. Um, so you want to make certain that you no fig tree is the only one I haven't gotten. The reason why I haven't gotten a fig tree, and to be honest with you, is I never knew how these figs taste. There's so many of them, different variety of figs. I just didn't never really get into it. But I've heard a lot of great things, not just good things, but great things about figs. Um, but I'm still interested. One day maybe I'm thinking, maybe I might try the fig trees. But and the zone I live in, which is zone 7B, is the only ones I would be able to grow is very cold hardy varieties. That would be something like Chicago fig. You got one called brown turkey. You might be able to grow that here. But the trees I have now, the cherry trees, one of my cherry trees did extremely well this year, very well. There's more cherries than I actually knew what to do with. And I thought about that. I said, wait a minute, you have 5 cherry trees. What if you would have all 5 to come on in one year? What would you do? Um, Once you find out what the pollinator is needed for the other 4 trees. Now, I just planted one cherry tree on my property, and I want to find out if this particular cherry tree will cross with these trees. Now, it hasn't bloomed yet, but it might bloom in 2020. It might actually bloom. So I'm waiting to see what that tree will do. Can't call the name of it right at this moment, but I can call the store and always check my history that of purchases, and they'll tell me, "Oh, you bought this tree." Or I can go out there and check the tag on the tree. It's a lot of growth and a lot of it's kind of hard to get to. Okay, I live in Maryland as well. I live in Maryland as well. Let's see what we got here. Beginning of garden. Maryland. Okay, let me just say this. I like pear trees, and the reason for that is it's a hardy piece of fruit. You can actually eat a pear, and there's something to it. They're sweet. They can make pies out of them. You could make different types of food. You could dry them or whatever. So many different avenues you can go. Um, Pear trees, I grow the Bartlett because everyone was hollering about the Bartlett, and the Bartlett is in fact an excellent pear. I mean, excellent as far as flavor is concerned. Um, Apples are good. Apples are definitely good. I'm growing the Granny Smith, Fuji, and Honey Crisp. Now, the apples that I mentioned to you, the most expensive apple out of all of them, some of you already know, is the Honey Crisp, and it's expensive at the store to get. I went to a farmer's market some weeks ago, and they had these huge um, excuse me, Honey Crisp apples that they crossed with Fuji. That's what he said. He crossed it with. He said, make sure he crossed it with, yeah, he crossed it with Fuji. Huge apples, folks. Huge apples. When you bite into them, I just didn't like the taste. I did not like the taste. It was really kind of sweet, and it turned brown immediately. As soon as you bit in and held it, it looked again, it was turning brown already. And I never seen any apple do that fast. So I figured this guy had these apples stored for a long period of time. Um, but and I thought I saw signs of greenish mold on the apples. I thought I saw signs of that, but I wasn't really sure because there wasn't a lot of it. So anyway, farmers market, bought apples, $7, maybe 5 or 6 apples, and it was just, I just, I wouldn't do it again. No, no, I wouldn't do that. And I only did it because I wanted to taste what the Honey Crisp tastes like. I purchased Honey Crisp in a store like Giants, and Giants Honey Crisp was definitely worth the money. It was big like that one, but when I bit into it, it was just really crunchy, sweet, and didn't have the aftertaste like you're eating a rotten apple or something. I don't know what. But I grow apples. I have a ton of apple trees. I think I got like one, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 10 apple trees. Did I need 10 apple trees? Absolutely not. But I grew them because I had the space for them. They're all dwarf apple trees. I also put in some Stanley plums because Stanley plums are definitely a fruit that will grow a bumper crop when they do produce. Once they get the right age and everything, you got the right pollinator, they will grow bumper crops of plums. But they are hard work because once they start producing, the birds go after them like a vengeance. Let's say. No, I'm sadly to say I do not juice them. I can make, you know, oh yeah, and I do have grapes, and I have what's that other thing I got going down there? Kiwi. I purchased that online. Uh, it's called Isaiah Kiwi, and I bought it some years ago. It took a long time for it to really get some age on it and start getting thick and burly. Cats love to dig it up for some reason. You better protect it from that. They love to dig this plant up. They love it. I mean, they actually go look for it for some reason and dig it up. Um, I have hardy kiwi. I don't know if it'll ever produce, but there's not a lot of information on it. Again, not a lot of information on it. If you purchase from the store, I went online and looked up the code number that they had from Lowe's, punched it in, and it told you some information about the plant. But kiwi plants have to be, in some cases, paired up with another kiwi in order to produce fruit. The Isaiah, on the other hand, has a male and female parts. So, according to what they're saying about it, does not need to have a male or female plant necessarily. All you need is just to plant it, and it'll produce some fruit. I have some grapes. Um, Neptune is one I have, and then I have another one that's a red grape called a flame grape, I think it is. Um, but I put all of those in different locations on my property, and I grew some in the trees next to the trees so it would rapidly grow in the tree. I did that because it was a gardener, food forest permaculture, what they call very knowledgeable, absolutely knowledgeable person. And so I tried it. He does it. So I said, let me do this because I had extra plants. See, what I do is I go to the store and I purchase plants that are on sale. And the reason why it's easy to do that is that you go to Lowe's, you go to Home Depot, and you just look at what they have. And at the end of the gardening season, when I say end of the gardening season, when you start getting past April and into May and all that, they start marking that stuff down. So I went up there and I got you ask for the manager, sometimes they mark it down for you. Let me clarify that. Um, so I bought two grapevines. They normally would sell for about like $8. I got them for like $1 each. The hardy kiwi, I overpaid for that $6. It normally went for like 7, and I could have waited a little longer and could have got that for $1. So you get these expensive plants and you put them in, and if you know what you're doing, you put them in the right locations that they like, which is whatever says on the box, how much sunlight or shade they require, and they will produce food for your family for many years. And if you want to spread them out, like especially grapevines, they are easy to do this with. You wait till in the fall while the leaves drop and everything, and you take cuttings and you create more grapevines, which you could buy. Realistically, you could buy one plant, one single grape plant, and you could have produce over 80 different plants from it, 100,000 different plants from it. To know how much time you want to invest in making cuttings over the years. But grapevines are definitely a beautiful plant to have on your property. So you have that going. And I did a beautiful thing with my grapes this year. I mean, if you prune them correctly, you get some beautiful looking clusters. And I had fun doing that because I learned how to properly prune my grapevine. And I had these beautiful green clusters of grapes that were beautiful looking. They were just beautiful looking. And when I used to let them just grow wild, I would have them grow, and they would be tiny ones at the end, and now I clip all that off so that I conserve energy. I also clip back the long runners that's running way past the clusters. I clip those back so that the energy goes into the grape and they create larger clusters of grape. I also remove some of the grape clusters so that the vine is not trying to produce too much. Every plant, if they want to break it down to you and make it really simple, they would tell you that every fruit plant overproduces. And if you have that in your mind and you cut back to where you say, okay, this grapevine here has grown, that's growing by itself, has 20 clusters on it. 20 clusters. So you cut back all that wild growth that's growing real long, that's not needed. And then you cut away some of them clusters and you cut them down to maybe, good morning, glad you are enjoying your garden this summer. Thank you very much. I hope that you're enjoying yours as well now. But you cut back everything. You cut back everything. And when you cut back to 20 clusters down to maybe 15, it depends on the age of the grapevine, the size of the grapevine, you know how it works. You cut them back. What will happen is the grapevine is still going to produce, the energy is going to come up through that vine, and it's going to be shelling that energy right into those grapes, as opposed to the vine and the big leaves, and which that's not what you're eating. Um, so when you do that, you can grow a vine. But here's the kicker. I had these beautiful grape vines. Sometimes you knock a couple of leaves off that's around them so that the sun can actually hit the grapes. I mean, you could get really involved in how you do this. Um, so once you do that, you will cut that back, and the sun can hit the grapes and really sweeten them up. Um, you could do that, and what will happen is the sun will definitely do what it's supposed to do, sweeten them up. But birds like the grapes as much as you do, just as much as you do. Because what I did, I had these beautiful clusters. Went in the house on a Friday. Said, "Oh man, I can't wait." Monday morning, they were all gone. Every last single grape. I'm not talking about a couple of them. Every last single grape. So I said, "Oh my goodness!" I went over and looked at these blueberries, and they wiped those out. But I want to tell you something. I wasn't upset about it. I just looked at it and said, "Okay, you're showing that you really didn't want these crops because you knew that there were other hungry stomachs out there, and you knew that if you wanted uh, these grapes, or you wanted the blueberries, you could have dropped a bird net on that vine. The way I grow my vines, how I grow my vines, you could easily drop a net on. I just didn't do it. So the birds did what they're supposed to do, which is feed themselves and their children. So I said, okay, no problem. If I ever want the grapes, I will, get a net and drop on them. That way I know that the grapes have been, covered. Let's see. The Neptune grapes, they haven't produced yet, but folks, I got to tell you something. They're supposed to produce a large white grape, and that I'm more into that than I am into the ones I have now. The one I have now is like a Thompson grape. I think it is a Thompson, and so grapes are great to have. Yes, but birds will eat apples, birds will eat plums, birds will eat peaches, you name it. If they see it, they will peck holes in it and they will eat it. Um, Crows are the worst damage because crows will, if you got 10 apples on there, they'll go peck each and every one of them. They'll peck every single one of your apples, and not just stay in the one apple. Even if you leave it on the tree for them to eat that, as opposed to your ones that haven't been touched yet, they will attack. They will attack each one of those apples. So people don't like crows around because crows just they eat disrespectful. They just peck out of one, go to that one, peck out of the next one. So you go out there one morning, you see out of your 10 apples, you see 6 apples that's been ravished by them, and you say, "Wow, that's just wrong," But anyway, I digress. Fruit is fun; it's still fun to grow. Um, Feed them, make them healthy. In the fall, give them those leaves. Fall, give them come up and give them those leaves. Make sure that they have the leaves, because the leaves are nothing but energy. When you make your cuttings, you can put them underneath the trees. I mean, when you do your cuttings on your fruit trees, you put the branches in small pieces underneath the trees, and that will feed your trees. Um, so definitely keep that in mind. This has been the Morning Gardener, and I want to thank you for tuning in. And definitely, because it's been a long time since I've been online, but I want to thank you for coming in, and I hope that you got some valuable information out of the show. Thank you very much, and remember, keep on growing. This is the Morning Gardener. Thank you.